Is it easy to be vegetarian in China? Absolutely. If you are cooking from the convenience of your own home. No, I'm just kidding. When you think of Chinese food, you're typically going to picture dumplings, stir fry, or noodles. What you might not realize is that vegetarianism in China, it goes back for many centuries, heavily influenced by the Buddhists and the Taoism. I'm not saying that right. The monks, they avoided meat so that they could practice mindfulness and compassion. The dishes became popular beyond the temples, and now you can experience them as you travel throughout the country. I want to mention a few traditional Chinese dishes that you can make yourself. Of course, you can ask for them in the restaurant, and you can even get them substituted with the mock meats, which I'll talk about in a second. The first dish is going to be mapo tofu. It's cooked in a rich, spicy sauce, and you can get it with the vegetarian version, the soup. Also, I want to talk about the Chinese Trinity. When we're talking about aromatics, you're going to always use ginger, garlic, and scallion. You are going to have these as the base for Chinese cooking. And depending on your spice level, they're going to add some heat to it too, depending on which region of the country you're visiting. You can get the eggplant that is stir fried. I mean, there's so many stir fried dishes that are meatless, and it's a great way for you to try the vegetarian cuisine. My favorite, I've mentioned it so many times, is the tomato egg. What I like about the Chinese food is that it's going to be visually appealing. I like to try dishes that are colorful. And the red and yellow, obviously the tomato egg, it stood out to me. This is how it is traditionally cooked. Each chef makes it, each region makes it differently. It was one of the first dishes that I tried in China. And to this day, I made it yesterday. Like, I love it. It's going to have that sauciness. The flavor's absorbed in the rice. You're going to be eaten with the steamed white rice. You can have brown rice. It's delicious. First, you're going to cook the egg. And the Chinese, you need to learn the technique for cooking. They have it on high heat. You're going to have your oil in there. You can use a wok if you have it. And once the heat is turned up high, you're going to put the egg in, cook it for about 30 seconds on high heat, remove it. You're going to stir fry it, put it to the side. Then back into the same pan, you can put in your oil. This is where you put in your aromatics. You can have the white part of the scallion. You can maybe put in some ginger, garlic, however you want to cook it. And then you're going to put in those tomatoes, salt the tomatoes. You want those to cook down. It's going to break down into a sauce, obviously. And then once it has, you can add ketchup. Some people like to add soy sauce. You can do coconut aminos. If you are trying to do less sodium, you want to have a little bit of sugar. Some people will put in a splash of water to make it more saucy. You can have a little slurry, cornstarch and water if you want. And then you're going to put the egg back in, stir it all together, and then you can top it. I like to top mine with a little sesame oil. Some people like chili oil, the green parts of the scallion, and then I like to use, the Trader Joe's everything seasoning, with the sesame seeds. It is a bright, delicious dish. You definitely need to try tomato egg. Is this a cooking video or what I ate in China? I'm not really sure. All right, you can also try the bok choy. I really like that. I love how many greens they have in China. Looking at my photos on the computer, there were just so many different varieties and versions of the leafy greens, celery, okay, the bok choy. They even stir fry lettuce. I don't really get down with all that. Again, you can have the bok choy with garlic. There's different types of tofu and the mushroom. Typically, I don't like to eat mushroom because it is a fungus, but there were just so many varieties over in China. I couldn't help but to try some of them. And I mean, they were okay. Mushroom is going to give you that umami flavor. Mushrooms are used because they're going to add that savory, that meaty flavor. And if you don't eat mushrooms, you can at least get the mushroom seasoning if you're vegetarian. All right. This is going to be very common in Chinese cooking. So you need to try to cook with some umami. And what's great about all of these vegetarian dishes, they're not sides. I know if you're looking at some of the pictures in my B-roll, I did just get a bunch of sides, but you could just get larger portions of them and then have a smaller portion of the rice. I think what we need to be mindful of is piling up the rice. Remember, that is going to bring on those calories. I told you I was trying to do a no bread, no pasta, no rice diet for at least once a week out of the month. It is difficult. So right now I am trying to reduce the portions of the rice that I'm consuming. And so far, so good. I mean, I look pretty slim and trim. These dishes can be complete on their own. I talked about the tofu. Of course, the noodles. It's going to be the same thing. You can cook the vegetables on high heat because you want to retain that crispness. Of course, it's still going to be bright and colorful. You don't want it to be too soggy when you drench it in sauce. Speaking of sauces, as a vegetarian, you do need to be careful because sometimes the Chinese, they'll be like, oh, okay, vegetarian means no meat, but it's still cooked in oyster sauce, fish sauce. You're probably going to have some dishes that are braised or they have been sitting in chicken stock. So this could be difficult for the vegetarians and vegans. This is why I'm saying it's probably best to cook it yourself or just go to a place that is strictly veg, like the Buddhist temples. Watch out for the hidden sauces, you guys. Like I said, the Chinese cooking, it's all about the technique. They like to stir fry on high heat. They steam dishes to keep the nutrients. This is so healthy, you guys. Please utilize this in your home cooking, in your home kitchens. And then for the deep flavor, like I said, they can braise it in the rich sauces. As I mentioned, the seasonings, the aromatics like ginger, garlic, the scallion, they are going to have the rice vinegar, of course, the soy sauce, and a little bit of sugar. It's all brought together to give you a balanced, simplistic dish that's full of flavor. I highly recommend it. In Chinese food, food isn't only about taste. It's about balance. Have you heard about yin and yang? Meals are often going to follow this principle. Yin foods are cooling and hydrating. Some examples would be cucumber, Lord, I didn't write them down, tofu, leafy greens, while the yang foods are going to be full of heat. These are going to be warming and energizing. Ginger. You have some ginger tea or just some sliced ginger, whoo, it is going to heat you up, all right? That's the yang coming in. It can be ginger, garlic. Again, I was talking about those hot peppers. Yin is cooling, yang is warming. And then you have the neutral flavors like carrots, potatoes, rice. These are the common staples, even corn and some legumes that are going to be used as the base for your balanced meal. A good meal aims to balance the yin and the yang, and then you're going to have those neutral components as well. You should try this in your daily routine, at least weekly. I know a lot of Americans, our plates, I'm not going to say everyone, some people are striving to be better, but if you look at your plate, is it full of color or is it just full of meat, right? Is half of it colorful with vegetables and salads, or is the entire plate just stuffed with chicken wings, fried chicken, beef? Listen, you should try to reduce it. I'm not saying that you should go full vegetarian if what you think is to be well balanced for you is to have your proteins. But when we're looking at a balanced plate, you want to try half for the leafy greens, the vegetables, and then maybe a quarter of that plate could be your protein, and then another quarter could be your starches. I'm trying to put y'all on to this healthy game. One of the first things that I enjoyed the most besides tomato and egg were the dumplings and the bao, the steamed buns. Woo-wee. I could eat bao every day, especially the one that has the greens inside of it. The outside is just so fluffy, that dough, it is so delicious. And you can get these vegetarian. Again, I'm just going to say watch out for the flavor. It probably was so good because it's probably soaked in chicken stock. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. Them steamed bao buns are divine. I would just be pop, 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 eating them. You can get them filled with veggies like cabbage, mushrooms. They can even do tofu or chives. Again, be mindful when ordering because some fillings are going to include pork or meat sauce. Y'all, I hope I didn't eat the pork. There's no way to know unless you just get it from a vegetarian food company, which is not that common in China. However, if you are in Shanghai, remember I told y'all I was with the vegans in Shanghai we would have potlucks and, just talk about healthy food, wellness, lifestyle in general. They told me about Oatly milk. I was put onto that like a few years ago when I was in China, and I started drinking the oat milk. It is quite tasty. You can even get it in your Starbucks. Some of y'all Starbies, y'all know that. I just called y'all Starbies. How many of you like tofu? Any hands? Hands? I can't see y'all. You can get it crispy. You can get it braised in one of those rich sauces. I do want you to know that tofu is a major part of Chinese cuisine, and you're going to find it cooked in endless ways. Noodles. Noodles are everywhere in China. You can get them with tofu. You can get them with cabbage. You can get them with vegetables, mushrooms, okay? You can get simple stir-fried noodles, hand-pulled noodles, spicy noodle soup. You can get them. It's street food. You can even go to the sit-down restaurants. Noodles are going to be a common dish for you to eat as a vegetarian. And like I said, you can get it stir-fried with fresh vegetables, which brings me to Buddhist feast. This is a common dish that you can even get in America. Stir-fried veg. Can't go wrong with it. I know that they serve this at P.F. Chang's. They even offer a kids version of it. I've been thinking about doing a kids meals video for vegetarians. P.F. Chang's on there. They offer a kid-sized portion of the Buddhist feast. I like that the Chinese chefs, they know how to bring out the best flavor with the Chinese Trinity, that garlic, that ginger. It is so delicious and it is warming to the body, and it's just going to give you that zing that you need. I do wish that sometimes I told them to be light on the seasoning. There was one cook in particular, I would always go in the market. I would go to one farmer. I would just always get the produce from him. I don't know. I just liked his vibe. He already knew what I wanted. And then sometimes he would give suggestions. Like, we just had that camaraderie going. And then I would always go to that one chef in the corner. I'd be like, I want these noodles. I want these vegetables. Sometimes I might switch it up, but I had a routine when I was in China, y'all. Another great thing about eating in China is that it's going to be affordable. I mean, some of these dishes that I'm talking about, you could get them for a couple bucks, $3. Go to the Buddhist buffet and you can get your plate piled high as much as you want. Eat till you're satisfied for under $5. I mean, who can beat those prices? A full vegetarian meal with rice, noodles, vegetables, it's only gonna cost you a few bucks. And of course, street food, everybody knows that around the world it's going to be budget friendly. Now, if you are vegetarian, you probably are going to want to learn a few phrases in Mandarin because ordering can become a challenge. I was given a card to just show the chefs while eating, but sometimes I didn't use them, y'all. I'm going to be honest. You can say wo chi su, that means I'm vegetarian. Booyah rao, I have the wrong emphasis on the syllables, whatever. That means no meat. And if you want to be very clear where you're saying no fish, no pork, no chicken, no beef, no seafood, which might really throw them, and no oyster sauce. And then they'll be like, what? What do I serve you? But I think it's important. Of course, eating in China, it means that you're going to be comfortable using the utensils. I like the families that when I went to their homes, they would give me a fork and a spoon because they are so accommodating. I love how accommodating the Chinese are, but they also would give you chopsticks. When I went to visit the tea fields with the family during, was it Chinese New Year or Golden Week? Honey, they didn't have no fork and spoon. They were like chopsticks. And it is going to take you some time to learn to use them. I am left-handed. Right now, my hand is kind of damaged, but I could still use the chopstick. It's kind of hard to explain how to use it. You want to basically control the top stick. This is not a chopstick. I just have a pen. All right, but you want to control that top stick, and the bottom stick is going to be stationary. You can Google how to use chopsticks. I don't know if I'll do a video on that. It's like how to eat in China with the chopsticks. Now, y'all, when I was eating my vegetarian cuisine, y'all know about the stares that I was getting. I don't know if people were pulling out their cameras, but they were looking at me in awe, like, oh, look at this black woman. She's using chopsticks. Oh, how long have you been in China? You're holding them the right way. I'm like, okay. Can I enjoy my meal without an audience? But again, they were just very proud. They love their culture, and they love to see when Westerners visit their country and are immersed in it. That's my take on it. Because I was like, do you want me to stare at you while you eat with chopsticks? Like, or while you use a fork? Like, who cares? If you're not confident using the chopsticks, it's fine. You can ask for a fork. I don't think it's going to be looked down upon if you are eating your noodles and your rice with a fork or spoon. But it is going to make your trip more authentic if you are using the chopsticks. Remember, you are not ever going to stick them upright in a dish of rice. That is frowned upon. It resembles a funeral offering, and it can be considered disrespectful or offensive. China has some of the freshest produce I've seen, from the exotic fruits, so, like I was telling you, those exotic mushrooms that I had never seen before in my life, talking about the lotus root. They stir fry so many things, so many vegetables. I'm drawing a blank, that are prepared with incredible flavor. If you are going to the restaurants, you can ask them for dishes that are steamed. As I told you, you could show them the card and say that you are strictly vegetarian and that you do not want your food to be cooked in the oyster or the fish sauce. You're not going to go hungry in China. I do want to show you some of the foods that I ate that I am accustomed to. This was from a Mexican restaurant. I went to the Indian restaurant. Y'all know I'm going to find Indian food wherever I go. China is no exception, okay? Here's what I had at the Cheesecake Factory. This was in Beijing, and they had the lovely veggie burger that I like to eat. Oh, y'all, I forgot about drinks. Hold on. When it comes to drinks, there are two that are going to stand out in China. One's going to be the green tea. It is full of antioxidants, and it is something that they use in their daily routine. You're typically going to be given tea in the restaurants when you are first being seated while you're browsing the menu, and it's great to cleanse the palate. Even now, as I was trying to put this series together, I got my green tea from Trader Joe's, the non-caffeinated. It wasn't a daily, maybe 3 times out of the week. And it is very calming. I love to have green tea, you guys. What might surprise travelers is that drinking hot water, just straight hot water, is also common. This is a practice that I picked up from living in China. I do talk about experiencing anxiety at airports, and things that I used to calm me down would be some breath work. I would do a lot of stretching, some light yoga, and I would drink that hot water. When you go to the airport to refill your portable water bottle, they had the hot option. It is fantastic. I'm not saying I'm just straight drinking hot water that burns my tongue. You can mix it with cold, okay? Balance the yin and the yang. And then your heart rate, if it was pounding fast from whatever experiences you were having at the airport, it's going to lower. You have to try this hot water. Even at church, they would have the tall canisters full of the hot water. And I mean, when you were freezing in church, because I'm like, where is the heater? That hot water, it was like heaven to me. Hot water is believed to aid digestion, improve circulation, and prevent the shock of cold water on the body. You can find this in homes and restaurants, on the trains, like I said, in church. Get you some hot water. And for a little bit of flavor, try to put some lemons in it. These drinks reflect China's focus on health and wellness. It's a lifestyle. I don't know if you're familiar with traditional Chinese medicine. I do remember when I lost my voice for about a month. It was awful. I pray this isn't happen to me here for the channel, because I mean, how do you teach? How do you even speak without a voice? But they were giving me all types of things, you guys. The TCM, I experienced it firsthand. Of course, you're going to have to just rest your body. I think there were just some foreign particles in the air, foreign to me anyways, and my voice, it was gone. But it did come back. It came back. Altogether, I do think that Chinese vegetarian food is more than just eating. It's a reflection of culture, philosophy, and tradition. Every dish tells a story, whether it's from a Buddhist temple, a family that has been passing it down from generation to generation, like I experienced in the tea fields, or a posh restaurant. It could just even be a cup of tea that's shared amongst friends while you are exchanging and having a nice cultural connection. Food in China nourishes not only the body, but the spirit. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and let me know by leaving a comment down below. And I want to thank you for watching all of the videos in this series. Stay tuned, because I'm about to switch it up and get off these countries and talk about just some things that are on my mind.